Welcome to the Wellness for Women show, where we talk about life, weight loss and everything in between. I'm Faye Caseman, founder of the AAA Way Life and Weight Loss Programme, and I'm here to help you put together the pieces of life and weight loss for one last time. This is an episode of the Wellness for Women show, filmed live in the free Facebook group. Hello to episode 41 of the Wellness for Women show. 41 whole episodes of me coming live every Wednesday, apart from that week when I had COVID, I think, and the week when I was on holiday. So it's quite exciting. Do like a good old round number. So again, it'll be good when it gets to 50. That will be a celebration as well, and that won't be long. So what am I going to cover today is overcoming doubt and fear to live a happier life. So we all have doubt and fear from time to time. It's normal, it's part of being a human, but let's face it, it can really feel like ass at times. Fear and doubt can keep us small. It can prevent us from doing things that may be out of our comfort zone, stopping us from living our lives to the fullest. And if we really let fear and doubt take hold, then these two emotional sisters can have a negative impact on our well-being and how we show up for ourselves and our goals and our dreams, right? So in today's episode, I want to explore them more and what you can do to live a happier life. And so if you want the access to the show notes, just let me know with the hashtag show notes and I will send those over. For those who don't know me or don't know me very well, I'm Faye Caseman, creator of the AAA Way Life and Weight Loss Programme, where I can help you find the balance in life and weight loss without restrictive diets for long-term success. So if you want to know more about that, check out the description, all the podcast links and everything about what I do. So again, we all know that, we all know what doubt and fear are, right? But I don't think it ever hurts to really remind ourselves about the definitions, because I think sometimes when you hear those out loud, you look at them, read them and hear them out loud, it helps you to establish what it is that you're facing. And ultimately, the more awareness that you have about a certain situation, the more you can step into action and the more that you can be accountable and make the changes you need for your success. So doubt, a feeling of uncertainty or a lack of confidence. Can feel heavy and quite icky, right? I'm not going to lie, actually, just before the show I was starting to feel a bit of doubt coming up, which is something that I'm going to tap into later when I do my journaling and figuring out what it was. I'm not quite sure what's triggered that feeling this evening, but it's there and I can feel it kind of churning around in my stomach, and again it can really show up in your body. So for me, I can feel it in my head can feel heavy, my heart can feel heavy, my stomach can feel all churny like it was before the show. And then when I feel that doubt, I say foggy brain, my heart's kind of quite tense, tummy's knotted, a bit wriggly. And it can lead to feeling quite anxious as well. And at times, for doubt, for some of us, sometimes, not always, it really can be quite paralyzing, and it can lead to you feeling really quite stuck and then taking no action at all and just generally preventing you from moving forward. Then we've got its sister, fear. So fear, another emotion leading to feelings of anxiety or dread. It can lead to catastrophic thinking, worrying that something bad is going to happen. And I say, just like its sister, doubt, it can stop you from taking actions or moving forward. Again, showing up potentially in your head and your heart, giving you obtrusive thoughts, worry and tension throughout your body. And so you've then got the impact of that. So letting these settle, simply put, can prevent you from living your life to the fullest. This can negatively affect your well-being. It can prevent you from achieving your goals and dreams. And I say we, me included, we can end up second-guessing ourselves, leading us to make decisions that are not in our best interests or not making decisions at all. And we can miss out on opportunities because we're just afraid to take that leap. And it can also prevent us from being our authentic selves, living life on our terms and enjoying the moment. So maybe does this sound like you? Does it sound like somebody you know? Is any of this resonating so far? So let me know in the chat whether you're watching this on live or replay. And if you're listening on the podcast, hop on into the Wellness for Women group and leave some comments. So let's dive in a bit more about how we can actually overcome doubt and fear. So again, if you've caught any of the previous shows, then you will know that your thoughts lead to your emotions. So let me say that again, your thoughts lead to your emotions. So when your thoughts spiral out of control, so do your emotions, and that's when the crazy begins. And it's about getting really aware of your thoughts that are creating that fear and that doubt. So more often the root of these are that perhaps you don't feel good enough in some way, that you don't feel capable enough, or that you don't feel smart enough or good enough to fill in the blank, whatever that might be. So for me, I used to compare myself a lot to others and feel like I was not good enough, I was not pretty enough, I wasn't skinny enough, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. And the list goes on, and that's something that I had throughout since I was a little girl. I think it started with some bullying when I was about 7. And I carried on those habits certainly through my teenage years. Were very turbulent, certainly into my 20s, probably started to feel a bit more confident towards my 30s, but the 40s are definitely the time when I'm shining, thanks to all of the coaching and the work that I've done. But those thoughts would swirl around my head, and they kept me small and they kept me overeating. That wasn't where I wanted to be ultimately. And so I work on those thoughts. I actively work these through, and I've worked a lot of these through over the time, doing the life coaching, and journaling especially helps me. I feel more confident than ever, really. But that was all until I decided to start a business, in all honesty. So I'd gone through my weight loss journey and lost the weight, and, like I say, grown confidence, but not necessarily because of the weight loss, but because of the fact that I showed up for myself daily, and I would set goals and I would hit them, and I'd achieve wins and everything like that, and it gave me such confidence that I have started that business. I've pushed myself back out of the safe zone, and therefore my brain now starts to give me a whole new world of thoughts to deal with. But do you know what? That is okay. And because I know how these things work now, and I can't believe that I got to 40 years old, and I didn't really realize that my thoughts led to my emotions, and how much control actually I could take back once I learned to tap into those resources. And I know that it's okay, because I know that through doubt and fear, and when you go through them, that's when you learn and grow. And as a result, you will flourish. It's inevitable as long as you keep going. So although I may often think things like, this shouldn't be happening, I'm going to fail, I know these aren't really true. It's just my brain showing me all the tigers trying to keep me safe, and I just have to calm that cowardly lion that's in the back of my mind. And one of the things that we learn at Coach School is that we are all born innately with the same amount of human value and worth. And it's only really when we start to compare ourselves to others that we lose sight of that, thinking that we need to do more or have more to be better than we are. And sometimes you might want to do that, don't get me wrong, but it's when it gets you stuck and not moving forward that you start to find more difficulties presenting. And so self-doubt often comes up from not valuing and loving who you are in that moment. But if you can work on accepting and loving yourself for who you are, it will help to diminish the self-doubt. So remember that a thought is just a thought. It's not reality unless you choose to believe it's true. So when you start to catch yourself having these thoughts, and start to learn how to question them and ask yourself things like, is this really true? How do I know this is true? What evidence do I really have for this? Quite often we will find that it's not true. It was just literally our brain telling us that there was a tiger somewhere. And conversely, it might be true. It might be something that is true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's helpful. It does not necessarily mean that it's kind. And it also does not mean that you have to keep it or accept the status quo. So courage. So in order to overcome your fears and doubts, you need to tap into the brave, courageous you that you really are and calm that cowardly lion. So when writing this, I couldn't help but think of the Wizard of Oz and the Cowardly Lion, and how really he had that courage all along. He just couldn't see it, right? He needed someone to show him that actually he was courageous, you know. And you and I are the same. We have that courage, and I know this because I know that because if you had to, you would take the steps. You would take courageous steps if you felt that you had to. It's just that you haven't built up enough necessity or evidence yet that that's where you want or need to go. And so you need to get curious about your fears and take action steps to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And that might feel scary at first, but once you take that first step, you'll feel better, because often is when we try and hold things down, bottling it up. That's usually when we feel the suffering, and then that's when it leads to the behaviours that aren't really serving you somewhere down the line. And again, I know this from my own experience. You know, I thought that I always had to be capable, that I couldn't ask for help, that I had to be perfect. And my weight loss journey really helped me to see that that wasn't true. I was far from perfect throughout my weight loss journey. I had many overeats. I didn't move my body as I intended, but I still lost the weight. And this is all still work in progress for me. You know, my perfectionist tendencies are quite ingrained within me. And when I do have doubts and fears come up, it is usually born out of that, because that's one of my my saboteurs is to be a perfectionist. And so, like I posted this week, I don't know if you saw the post in the group where I was saying that I'd had a period of doubt and fear and that this was coming up. Again, my brain was just seeing tigers everywhere. And as a result, my brain was trying to encourage me to do safe things like eat and buffer with online games, rather than doing the inner work that I needed to move myself forward. But I've recognized the important thing is that I've recognized that that's happening, and through my coaching I can draw that line, and I can change where I want to go. And so it can be really helpful to drill into your fears. You know, what is it that you really are afraid of? Because, as I say, often when we say, well, and then what would happen, and then what would happen, you know, what are you really fearful of? Quite often when you drill into it, you say, is that realistically true? And it won't be. So, for example, you might worry that you don't want to start another diet program, that you'll quit, that you'll just fail again. So why bother? But the real fear here could be that you are worried about being seen as a failure or not being good enough, which is not true unless, again, you choose to believe it. So you could, as an alternative, decide not to quit, but commit to figuring it out no matter what. And yes, there will be ups and downs, but the only real failure is in never trying, as that's just failing ahead of time, ultimately, when the outcome could actually be glorious. So the last couple of points: determination. So the key to success in anything is simply not quitting, committing to figuring it out no matter what. Because if you want something badly enough, you will do it, and you can build that necessity. And you need to be determined and have the grit to see things through, even when the going gets tough. Now you may be thinking, well, yeah, Faye, if I had all of that, we wouldn't be here, would we? Huh? I'd already be where I want to be. You know, and I hear you, I get you, I completely do, because but if you're not there yet, that's okay. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't be. I think so often we have that whole outlook of the grass is greener on the other side. And so we want all the things that, you know, we want for our future, but we sometimes forget actually how far we've come to get just where we are today. And to celebrate in that and accept that you are where you are sometimes is, again, really powerful work to do. Self-acceptance, acceptance of your situation. But that doesn't mean to say that you then have to stay. Self-acceptance doesn't mean don't try. It just means don't fight reality. So finding ways to build your confidence is a great thing for banishing fear and doubt. So again, during a weight loss journey, you will fail a lot. You will have overeats. You will have weeks where you don't move how you intended. You will have weeks where you gain or plateau. And this is all normal. And it's important to give yourself grace and again, step into that self-acceptance, because we all make mistakes. It's a part of being human. Learning from your mistakes, keep moving forward and celebrate regardless, because there's always something to celebrate. There's always a gift to find in any situation if you just look hard enough for it. Happiness. So of course, negative emotions like fear and doubt, they can also impact our well-being. Stress and anxiety in itself can impact our happiness and our mental health, but it can also create physical problems. You know, your mind and body are so connected. And I touched on this a bit already, but you know, when your body and mind are living in doubt and fear, you will feel it, mind, body and soul, because your cortisol levels are going to be high, which will lead to increased food cravings and other symptoms like headaches and tiredness and inabilities to concentrate and upset tummies and just generally feeling overwhelmed and anxious. And again, all of this impacts your health and your well-being and your happiness. So that's why really this is why I encourage working on life and overall life, weight loss and overall well-being, because commonly again we think that losing weight is just about what we eat, but actually sometimes you need to work on happiness and what makes you happy, and the food and the weight loss will actually follow. Because if you're in a situation, or if you're feeling generally better about life and in a good place with life, you've got more capacity, more to make the decisions that are going to serve you, that you know, with regards to sort of the day-to-day stuff like food. And so, like I say, if you're going to be courageous and determined about anything, it's about perhaps finding a way to find balance and more joy in the little things and the big things, just to take down the temperature and reduce the stress. Right, that's it, folks. No one ever said life was easy. We all face challenges and obstacles, both big and small, but it is important to remember that we have the power to overcome those challenges if we just have a little bit of courage and a little bit of determination. So don't let your fears hold you back from living your best life. You are genuinely capable of anything. So if you need help with any of this, reach out. Let's see how we can work together. I've got a variety of life and weight loss coaching techniques I could share with you to bust through doubt and fear. As you know, so check out the links in the description again. Check out the links for the podcast. And if you want to get the most out of these videos, really, like I say, just watch them, let it percolate, let it sit, think about whatever it is that I'm saying. Leave me #gems, leave me #questions, so that I can come back and answer them and help you in your life and weight loss. So that's it. I will see you next week and we will speak soon. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, if you want to boost your life and weight loss the AAA way, check out the relevant links for today's show in the description. Speak soon.